how do we get the government that's in power out, because they will continue down the path of destruction in every way possible. Open borders, pushing indoctrination onto children, probably more mandatory shots and lockdowns. So it's a twofold. It's one, how do we get the government out, but also we need people on the ground to rise up and really rise up en masse in the thousands. They had 100,000 out for the water protest. We should have more than 100,000 out now, where people have died and children's minds are being destroyed. Most importantly for justice is the people who are still alive today who got the COVID shots. They need support, they need justice so they can get their bodies healthy again. So there are people who are injured. We need justice for the injured. And as far as the people who are bereaved, who have lost loved ones, including myself, I've lost loved ones from the COVID shots, the people should be held to account for that. So every politician, media, NGO, government official that pushed it, they should be tried in court. The government imposed some pretty horrific measures during the COVID pandemic, I shall say, because they told people they couldn't leave their homes, they had to mask up, they had to stand on the 2 meters apart on footsteps. And after the COVID measures ended, people still lived in trauma and fear. And now we're seeing not only the carnage with the mental health, both in children and adults, but we're seeing some serious COVID shot injuries, as well as 23,000 excess deaths. And the government is clearly showing that they don't care about the people, because they haven't even started a COVID inquiry yet 5 years later, and they're turning a blind eye to the excess deaths and the injuries. So I'm here to stand for justice for the bereaved, justice for the injured, and standing for freedom and against tyranny happening in every aspect of society. Yeah, I can't explain how it impacted my children, because we didn't follow any rules. We spent our days at the seaside, in the mountains, and the forest, but my children didn't have a lot of friends to play with, because their parents did keep them in the house and put masks on them and let them live in fear. There was one mother down the road from us who her child tested positive with one of those PCR tests, and he was locked in his room at Christmas, and a dinner was left outside the door. So I know the children are still living in the after effects, the carnage of the fear, the anxiety, not knowing, if they are going to make their granny sick. They were told that, don't go to your granny. So my children weren't affected because I stood up for them as their mother. And to this day, they know that they shouldn't live in fear, and that, don't put on a mask, breathe fresh air, and smile, live, and laugh.
I heard Pat Morrissey saying last night that 92% of medical professionals have declined the latest iteration of the COVID shots. But these doctors are still sending letters to their patients asking them to come and take this thing, which they obviously regard as poison and as dangerous. They know, and shame on them. So that in 2021, many of the doctors here today made a video together talking about this in the earliest days of the injectable rollout. And since then, sadly, every word we have said is true. We're standing today outside the Irish Medical Council's offices. These people are the Rottweilers, they're the enforcers of government policy in order to silence doctors who are standing up for patient safety, for bodily autonomy, for informed consent. These are ethical medical practice. It should be the core of what these people are trying to promote. But sadly, as Andrew Bridgen has said, corporate interests and profits have captured our government, our regulatory agencies. All of us have seen people who are the human cost, the human suffering of these policies. Right from the deaths in the nursing homes, from the businesses destroyed by lockdowns, from the children whose childhood has been blighted by the fear of killing their loved ones. So the Irish Medical Council are only a small pawn in a very big chess game. We need justice for those who have been injured, harmed and bereaved by these policies. We need recognition, certainly accountability. When the science is now crystal clear, there is no plausible deniability for any of these people. But I know for sure that those of us who are here today, I've spoken to people from all over the country that I've been talking to over the last 5 years. These people are determined. We are not going to be silenced. We will be fighting in 5 years if we don't get accountability, justice and truth. And the Irish Medical Council, as I say, are a very small part of that jigsaw. But today is a good step in the right direction.
I have driven down from the north today to be here, and I was a founding member of FIBS NI. FIBS NI is a vaccine injured and bereaved support group, and I just wanted to let you know that in the north we had a gentleman called Paul Frew, who's a DUP MLA in the north, and he actually helped us get recognition. We then had a meeting with the First Minister, Michelle O'Neill, from Sinn Féin, and the Deputy First Minister, Emma Little-Pangeli, from the DUP. We had the vaccine injured with us, and the vaccine injured explained their stories to Michelle O'Neill and to Emma Little-Pangeli, and then Michelle O'Neill actually co-signed for an event to take place in Stormont for the vaccine injured and bereaved. On the 14th of October last year, we had the event in Stormont. There was 120 vaccine injured people at the event, and we had all different MLAs coming in from the different parties, the SDLP, the Alliance Party, the DUP and Sinn Féin, all hearing the stories directly from the victims themselves. And subsequently, the Health Minister for Northern Ireland, Mike Nesbitt, has actually met with the vaccine injured and bereaved, and he is now going over to England to meet with Les Streeting and his counterparts from Scotland and Wales to actually find a clear pathway of care. So why I've actually driven down today is to ask the South to do exactly the same thing, to ask the TDs in the Dáil to actually meet with the vaccine injured and bereaved, to hear their stories, because like any medication, whether you're on diabetes medication, heart tablets, there's always side effects. You've got common side effects and you've got very rare side effects. And these people have actually done what the government has asked them to do. They stepped up to the plate, they got vaccinated, and they are now injured. And the injured parties need to have their voices heard, and they need to find a clear pathway of care. So I'm asking all the TDs in the Dáil to at least have an open ear and open their eyes and meet with the vaccine injured and find them a voice and find them a pathway to care.